The bright lights in the hospital room buzzed. Arthur Vance, a very rich man, slowly opened his eyes. His head hurt a lot, and his mind felt empty. He couldn't remember anything, not his name, not why he was there, nothing. It was like his past was a blank book. Then a pretty woman walked in. Her name was Amelia. She moved very smoothly, and her smile was a bit too bright. She had a clever look in her eyes that Arthur couldn't understand. "Arthur," she said in a sweet voice. "Oh good, you're awake." She told him she was his fiancée. He didn't know her, but the idea of someone being his felt nice in his empty world. He held on to that idea. Amelia's bad planned for weeks. Amelia stayed by his side, always there. She told him big, fancy stories about their rich life. She talked about how they met on a fancy boat, how they loved buying expensive art, and their dream of a huge wedding in Monaco. She made up a picture of a very fancy life, always mentioning his huge money and powerful businesses. With each story, a new part of his life seemed to fit, but it wasn't a real memory. It was just a story she made up. He listened to every word, every fake laugh they shared, and felt her hand squeeze his. He was falling for the woman who said she was his other half, not knowing he was walking in her trap. Amelia was not just anyone. She was a private detective who was good at finding people's weaknesses and using them. First, she went after Arthur's real wife, Florence Vance. Florence was a kind woman, but she also had some memory loss. She felt strongly that her husband was missing, even though she couldn't remember much. Florence was worried and hired Amelia to find him. But Amelia, when she learned how rich Arthur Vance was, saw a much bigger prize. She tricked Florence, giving her fake updates and asking for a lot of money for finding clues that didn't exist. She slowly took Florence's money. All this time, Amelia was secretly looking for Arthur herself. She knew finding a missing billionaire was a golden chance. When she finally found him in the hospital, with no memory, her plan changed. Why just find him and get paid a fee? She could become the new Mrs. Vance and get everything. Her goal was to become his fiancé, get him to trust her, and then, after he left the hospital, take control of his companies and money. As days turned into weeks, small problems started to show in her perfect story. Sometimes, Arthur would see a quick image of a different apartment, small and not fancy like Amelia's stories. He'd smell jasmine, even though she said their special flower was a rare, expensive one. He tried to tell himself it was just his memory problems, but these little flashes kept coming back. One afternoon, Amelia was talking about their dream honeymoon in Italy when Arthur had a sudden, clear flash. A sunny beach, a woman's laugh, but it wasn't Amelia's face. It was a woman with long, dark hair, and her laugh sounded like tiny bells. He shook his head, trying to clear it. "Are you okay?" Amelia asked, her voice showing a little fear. Her big plans for his money were in danger. "Just a headache," he lied, feeling a tight knot in his stomach. The flashes came more often now, clearer and stronger, like sharp pieces of glass cutting through the fog in his mind. A big fight he couldn't remember, a different hand holding his. Each flash made him feel more and more uneasy. Amelia's stories felt less comforting and more like a clever trick, even to Arthur. Florence finds the truth. Meanwhile, Florence felt more and more worried about Amelia. Amelia wasn't making real progress, and she kept asking for more and more money. Even with her own shaky memory, Florence felt a strong pull. She hired another, more honest detective. That new detective, following a clue about a car accident victim who matched Arthur's description, finally found him in this very hospital. Just as Amelia was telling Arthur another fake story about their future business plans, the hospital room door opened. A woman stood there, looking tired but with strong hope in her eyes. She had that dark hair from his flashes and a determined look on her face. It was Florence Vance that Arthur's heart pounded. He didn't know her, but he felt a huge, strong feeling that he knew her. It wasn't a memory yet, but a powerful feeling of being home. Florence walked right past Amelia, looking only at Arthur. "Arthur," she whispered, her voice shaking with emotion. And when she said his name, something clicked. It wasn't a story Amelia told him, but a feeling from deep inside him. A memory came back, clear as day. Florence laughing, her face bright in the sun, on a beach. Their beach. His hand reached out to her without thinking. "Florence," he breathed. The name felt perfectly right on his tongue. The fog in his mind didn't completely go away, but the most important piece had fallen into place. His wife. He remembered her, the love he'd lost, the love he was meant to find again. The connection was there, a deep, true feeling that had finally cut through all the lies. Amelia stood frozen, her face twisted in anger. Her big plan, her dream of living off Arthur's billions, was gone in a flash. Florence turned to Amelia, her eyes now sharp and cold. "Detective Jenkins," she said, her voice strong, "I've told the police about your cheating and how you stole money from me. They'll be here soon." Amelia's face turned white. Her big plan, her rich future, had disappeared. With a low, angry sound of defeat, she quickly turned and stormed out of the room. She left behind only the bad feeling of her greed.